it comes online.
Okay. And yeah, so like Agaboom and
What's Agaboom?
Agaboom is a kind of a Russian style circus show. It's a theatrical, like Broadway touring type show. It's got three characters: got a white face, a goose, and a tramp.
Hi, everybody.
And,
Everybody's coming on right now. We got a couple people. We should have a few attendees. Just want to check everything's okay. So I'm Blake Cabot. I am the owner of ClownAntics. And I've got with me Adam, who's so that's Adam Schill, and he is a clown extraordinaire, and he does all sorts of great things. He was in Full Auguste just today, and what we're going to do is going to show you Light Auguste, and if you've got any questions, just put it in the Q&A at the bottom. Hopefully you're seeing this the way we are, and feel free to any chat messages, and I'll check that, and I will let Adam know while he's kind of doing his thing, telling you. We're going to give a minute or two for a few more people to come on. And thanks for attending.
I see a few people I know on there.
Yeah? Who?
So Connie is one of our hosts for the Niagara Falls Convention.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Connie.
And Joey makes clown shoes up in New Jersey area. And then recognize a couple other names on there.
Okay. Connie says hi.
I saw that. It's a good thing you don't have microphones for them. No, neither one of us be able to talk because she'd be talking the whole time.
Yeah, she can't say anything. She can comment. She can put vicious comments. Hey, there you go. There you go.
That's funny.
Yeah. And you guys can hear stuff okay, and you can hear and you can see Adam, because Adam should be the main screen.
I'm sorry that you have to look at me. And this real bright light here in about probably 5 to 10 minutes will be gone. It's the sun shines in this window, and in about 10 minutes it'll be behind my neighbor's house, so it won't be shining in that bad anymore.
Okay, so Jeffrey says he's a new clown now being trained by Tango and Lomax.
Cool.
Where's Tango and Lomax? And Ronnie says he's a fan of yours.
Ronnie, I think I know who you are from Facebook. You've got the big white goatee beard thing, right? Is that for you who I'm thinking of?
Hi, everybody that just joined. Just throw in some comments and chats, and I will keep those in front of Adam. San Diego Clown Conspiracy. There you go.
Yeah.
You have better weather. Yeah, that's exactly right, says Ronnie. Thanks for remembering.
And then let's see, San Diego. I don't know a ton of people out there. Bon Bon is out there. You're in her group at all? Let's see. Where's everybody else from? You've got San Diego, Connie's from Buffalo, Joey's from New Hampshire, I know, or New Jersey, yeah, wherever up there. It's all one big area that I don't know anything about. I'm from cornfields in Indiana.
Yeah, we got Indiana. I'm in New York.
Waxhaw. That's a neat sounding town.
Near Charlotte, huh? I spent some years in college going to Winston-Salem. Don't offend the people of New Hampshire like that.
That's funny.
That is.
Joey's probably just in here to make fun of me. That's all. I'm sure he's
that could very well be true. 100%. There you go. Okay, so why don't we get started?
Okay. You want to say anything first, or you just want me to start?
Nope. We're doing a series of this, and Adam really volunteered for this. And I said, "Would you do it?" And he said something crazy like "yes." And so we love doing these kind of things, and we'd love some suggestions from you guys at some point. You can put that in the chat window as we kind of go along about other things you'd like to see, because the whole point of this is to help clowns learn about clowning. So with that, Adam.
All right, thanks. So he kind of asked, he said he wanted me to do a webinar of some sort, didn't really know exactly what. And I had been talking to a couple people about helping lighten up their clown look a little bit. A lot of people still do full Auguste, which I love personally. But it's not as marketable as the lighter look with all of the scary clown crap that's been going on here lately, last few years. It's just people are tending to shy away from wanting a full look with wig and everything. So funnily enough, though, as soon as we said this, I booked a birthday party for today. And, I'm doing this class on how to lighten up my look and everything. And then she tells me that she wants me to do a full Auguste look for the party. I sent her a couple pictures, and just to see, I usually throw them out just to see if anybody wants it. This is the first time in 2.5 or 3 years that I've done my full Auguste face, which I'll show. I'll pull up a picture here so you can see what that looks like. But it's a lot different than the lighter look that we're going to be talking about tonight. So, yak wig, big nose and stuff. So one way that you can really lighten up your look is just not wear makeup at all. There's some clowns that don't wear makeup. If you guys know who Lee Andrew is down in Georgia, he does a lot of fair and library shows and festival shows, stuff like that. He does not wear makeup. He just wears a nose and his glasses. And that's one great look. Now, just wearing a nose, sometimes you don't, you don't look super clowny, but if you add some glasses and then add your costume onto it, I look like Lee with hair right now. I know we're both the chubby kids, but, you get that. You can also, another type of nose that you can do besides just wearing a red nose are these great flesh nose. And so this adds, a little bit of whimsicalness to your look without, full on coming out and saying clown. And, that's a lot of times, unfortunately right now, clown is not a marketable word. There's I know a few clowns around the country that have stopped calling themselves clowns altogether. They are just children's entertainers or kids entertainers. And so this is one way that you might market that. Another thing you can do is just wearing lighter makeup, which is what I do. I'm personally am a fan of wearing some makeup. It helps cover up it's kind of hard to see in here with the lighting, but I've got dark hair, so 5 o'clock shadow comes on. It adds kind of that gray, Fred Flintstone look on your face sometimes. So if you have a good base tone makeup on, it's going to help with that. It also keeps your skin even. You can highlight where you want to highlight. You don't have to worry about your cheeks turning red if you get hot. If you in places you don't want them to be red, your ears turning red, stuff like that. So I personally, 99.999% of the time, do full makeup, even if it's a light face. So I'm going to do my normal lighter face for you tonight. And so you can kind of see how I do that. This face, if I'm doing it real time and not talking while I'm doing it, usually only takes me 10 to 15 minutes to do. It'll probably take me a little bit longer tonight, but you can still get a full look, full makeup and everything without having to spend 2 hours on your makeup. I know whenever I first went through my clown classes back whenever I was like 10 years old, we had to allow ourselves like 2 hours to get ready for, I don't remember why it took so long, but I remember it always took at least an hour. And part of it was I was just, 10 years old or 11 years old. And so it was probably not the quickest in the world, but, so anyways, I use this for my base color. That's the Maron, cream blend sticks. I think Blake sells these at ClownAntics.
I do.
And so the color that works best for me, I always would try to get a color that's close to your natural skin color, just a little bit darker. Color I use is Warm Honey. I've also got one here. I can not dump it all over the place. This one is Soft Beige, so you can see they're pretty close. One's a little bit more pink, one's a little bit more brown. I tend to like the brown one a little bit better for my my skin tone most of the time. The beige one I use more in the winter time. This one I use more in the summertime when I got my tan on and everything. One thing you'll notice, I start with my flesh tone on a light Auguste face and then add the white in over that. It tones it down a little bit and you don't have the bright white like you would with a full Auguste or a white face. I also have two different white makeups. So you can see this one has some colored makeup in there. That's what I use for my lighter face. This one I keep for doing full Auguste or other stuff. Varnish the pot or whatever you want to call it. So I just start dabbing this on. Now, I'm not using a mirror right now. I'm using my webcam as a mirror. So if something doesn't look quite right, that's why. So I just dab some of that all over my face. Good thing with a light Auguste face, if you're using a flesh tone that's close enough to your skin color, you don't have to worry about your neck. You just kind of blend it down into your neck, and then you don't get makeup all over your shirt collars and stuff like that. So after I dab it on my face, I dab just a little bit on the palm of my hand so I have something to rub. As you guys know probably from basics of makeup, you always want makeup on your fingers whenever you go to spread or pat makeup around. So and so I just go all over my face, even over my eyelids where it's going to be white. And you don't want it real thick. You just want it kind of, if you've ever done any type of stage productions or anything like that. If anybody has any questions, you can type them in the chat. I can see the chat on my screen while I'm doing all this. So, and Blake can
call it out if I see him.
If he sees something before I do. Okay, so that's your basic, got your base tone on. It's a little bit orange looking, but once it gets powdered, it's a Oompa-Loompa-ish. Always keep a big stack of baby wipes near. Okay, so now got that. We're going to take, and I had my flesh color down here. I'm going to put white up here just so I can kind of use this almost like use my hand almost like Bob Ross or whoever would use their palette where they keep the colors separated. And if they need to mix them, they can mix them in the middle a little bit. So do my white. And
somebody asked on why do you apply the initial coat for? What's the reason for that?
Why do I do the
initial coat of makeup?
Initial coat of makeup because it's so I you always want to use a base coat because it evens out your skin. If you don't use a base color, like a foundation, it's just like foundation that women wear every day. It evens out your skin tone. It keeps you from getting bright red cheeks whenever you don't want to have bright red cheeks. It just looks a little bit more polished and a little bit more professional looking. Normally you would do, like Joey said, thin enough you can see through it, but if you need a trowel, it's too thick. Why am I starting with the base instead of the white? The reason I do this is because your light Auguste is actually, I don't care for the term light Auguste as much. That's what COAI has called their makeup competition category, is light Auguste. World Clown Association calls it clown light. It's actually a European style. It's like what a lot of the European circus clowns started doing, 20 years ago or more, probably even longer than that. And so I do the base tone first, and then I do the white over it, and it just kind of tones down the white, so it's not so bright. It makes it more pedestrian looking. If you look at like David Larible is a good, if you know who he is. He was, if you're familiar with the 90s Mickey Mouse sing-along movies where they go to the circus, David Larible is the main clown in Ringling Brothers whenever they are touring that and everything. And so he's got his is really even toned down more than what I do. It's a little bit lighter here, a little bit darker there, but it's all a variation of just a skin tone.
So Jeffrey asked the question, what about the ears? For stage productions, I always had to put base on my ears since I'm blonde and they show up red if I don't.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't usually, if you have trouble with your ears being really bright red, there's nothing wrong with doing it. Mine look a little bit more red, but I've never had anybody say anything about it. And you're also, most of the time, if you're doing a lighter face, you're going to be close enough that it's not going to show up. If you were on stage, the lights and everything would make it look bright red, whether it is or not. So you would probably want to do it if you were doing an actual stage production. But just doing, if you're doing a birthday party or a hospital visit or something like that, they're not going to be that far away, and you're not going to have hot lights right on you and stuff to make it as crucial.
Okay. Another person asked, this is on Facebook Live. So Brandy asked, do you ever do white face clown makeup?
No, only if I'm doing like a makeup video for something would be the only time. I've done white face, just like playing around with it before, but I've never gone out in white face. My character is much more of an Auguste type character. I'm goofy and silly. I'm not a type A personality, which is what your white face normally would be.
Really? White face are more generally type A? Okay.
Normal, yeah. I mean, so your white face are your more put together stuff, and I do have, as Ronnie said, I've got some videos on on YouTube that I made like 10 years ago. Some of them are pretty awful, but some makeup tutorials for full Auguste, white face, hobo. I did a lighter one. Joey, thanks. So yeah.
So you know Joey pretty well.
Yeah, Joey and I, we go back. He was like a little pipsqueak back on the clown forum back in the day. He was like, 14 on there, goofing around whenever. I mean, I was like 19, so it's not.
So Jeremy asked, what kind of paint are you using?
So I use, for white, I like Ben Nye. It's the Ben Nye Clown White. For my flesh tone and red, I use Maron Cream Blend.
Yep.
And then for black, which I'm sad that they stopped making these, the Maron pencils, the fat black pencils.
Oh, yeah, they did stop making those.
They stopped making them, and I bought up all of them I could find back whenever I found out they stopped making them, and now I've just got to work through my stock, and then I'll have to go back to the Ben Nye pencils, which Ben Nye pencils are not bad. They still make the fat Ben Nye ones, don't they?
Mm-hmm. I'll look.
I hope.
I don't remember.
But the main thing I didn't like about the Ben Nye ones is that they have the wood instead of where the Maron ones are it's like a hard foam type stuff in there, plasticky. I would have trouble with the wood on the Ben Nye like chipping off and like getting into my makeup as I was drawing it on there and stuff. So it may just be something I need to go back and play with more, and I'll have to figure something out once I run out of my last Maron one. But
you don't know somebody named James Kuhn, do you? Albert was talking about him on Facebook, saying that he was a.
I do know that. Yeah, I know who he is. He is. He's a great-looking white-faced clown.
Right, type A personality.
I don't know necessarily. Not all white-faced clowns are type A in real life, but just that character is more.
Okay.
Character is more put together and less goofy and stuff. And also, I picked an Auguste clown whenever I went through my clown classes back 20 years ago.
Right.
And I've just never strayed from that. I've thought about doing whiteface for competitions or something before, but it's never really appealed to me that much.
Mm-hmm. Somebody asked, did the killer clown thing a few years back change your makeup?
No. And honestly, I didn't have any negative reaction or anything whenever all that was going on. I've been doing this look since I was, probably 2010-ish, maybe 2009, somewhere in there. And I've kind of evolved it over time and stuff, but I've had a pretty light look for a long time. And I've still done my full look that I showed a while ago a few times in there as well. But I never really had any problems with sales going down or anything like that from the whole it stuff or the creepy clowns in the woods and all that stuff. I think that's
just
more
awful.
of a media ploy for ratings that just they wanted the reaction, and they got the reaction because clowns got all up in arms about it. I've not seen the new It movies, but I've seen the old It movies, and they were stupid and they weren't really scary at all. So I think it's all I don't know. I hardly ever have anybody scared of me. I've been doing this a long time, and I could probably count on two hands the number of kids I've actually had that were afraid of me in clown. Now, that's not counting. I just saw Jeffrey's comment on here. It says, I don't mention Ben Nye to non-clowns because they inevitably say the science guy does makeup. That's funny.
That's funny.
I thought the same thing first time I heard it. But sorry, my ADD brain. What was I talking about? The
evil clown thing.
Evil clown stuff. Yeah. I've only had just a handful of people ever be scared of me. And now most of the time it's, teenage girls that just want attention. And usually if you make fun of them a little bit, I know there's a whole thing like clowns shouldn't be mean or clowns shouldn't make fun of people. If they want attention, give them attention. I usually, like I was in a parade one time and this 15-year-old girl, as I'm walking by, she goes, "Oh my God, it's a clown." And so I just looked at her and I go, "Oh my God, it's a teenage girl," and just kept walking. And her parents thought it was hilarious. And she just kind of like,
that's great.
So the next thing I do, I don't know if I didn't really show you, I take my red and just draw a little dot on my hand and mix it in with that flesh tone. And so it makes like just something that you can kind of rosy up your cheeks a little bit without doing a big bunch of red. And that's another reason I do the whole base on everything, because grease paint will blends really well with each other. But um, if you don't have a base coat down there, it doesn't, or you don't have anything to blend it into.
Not sure I understand this question, but Bobo asked if you can get an Indian supply so you can get thick eyebrow pencils. My makeup is subtle, but I find the pencils ideal. That make any sense to you?
Like an Indian, like Indian people makeup, like they would wear. Is that?
I think it's maybe an Indian supply company. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Hmm. Rosetta McBride said, "Clown makeup looks so much like acrylic. Can you use acrylic? Is
I
there
would
such?
not use acrylic makeup on your face at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
That's
Um,
it's actually dangerous because it's not made to put on skin. Same reason that a face painter would not. That you'd never want to hire a face painter that was using acrylic paints. I gotta stop talking so I can do this real quick.
well, Connie, I'll talk a little bit. So Connie said, I got threatening phone calls during the creepy clown thing, and you're right about the teenage girls. And
Sorry, Connie, that was me. I just wanted to be scary.
that makes sense. Yeah, don't use acrylic. There's some weird. I was looking for doing some face paint research, and one of the key articles people ask is, can I use acrylic face paint? And it's just like, why would you use acrylic on your face?
No, that's so. Whenever I was a teenager, and I knew better because I was a clown for 5 or 6 years by that point. I went to, it was when the Colts were in the Super Bowl in probably 2006 or seven, something like that. And, I'm in Indiana, so Colts is what everybody likes around here. I'm not a sports person at all, but
Hmm.
I went to a Super Bowl party and they were all painting faces with, half blue, half white with the acrylic paint and stuff.
Right.
And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I did it. That stuff was so hard to get off of my face that, it was just, I don't know why anybody would do that. It pulls on hair and it's just not easy at all.
Okay.
So at this point you can see I've got toned down white on my eyes, and I just do white up to my natural eyebrows. You can go a little bit higher if you want to for reasons. Gloss, I don't remember doing. Probably is whatever the kid's mom had the party I was at. But I just go up to my natural eyebrows. You can go a little bit higher, but the whole thing with lighter faces is you want to have a lighter look. So you can, you're toning everything down. So you don't want big, like you would do with full face.
Joey asked, was it gloss or semi-gloss?
I have no clue. I think he was talking about the
Acrylic?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So there it is. So then another thing, whenever you're doing, does anybody powder in between colors? I know that was a thing back a long time ago. You would do a color, then powder.
Yeah, you'd use the sock and stuff.
And I do the whole face before powdering. Whenever I'm doing a full Auguste face, I will do my white and powder my white separately just so I won't screw it up. And then I'll go back and do the rest of the colors all together before I powder again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just if you're doing a full
Joey
face.
does just that. He powders after the white for his full Auguste.
Yeah. Now, one thing, normally I do this face so quick I don't have to worry about it. But tonight I've been talking, so you can see my eyelids are kind of separating out a little bit. So I'll go back and tap on those before I powder. But so then I just do black eyebrows right over top of, and this will be hard because the resolution is not the greatest in the world on this thing.
So you're using a Ben Nye pencil?
So yeah, this is just Ben Nye pencil, this is Maron pencil, but I prefer the fat black pencils.
Yeah, that was.
You can go in with the
They only have slim nowadays.
yeah, the slim ones, and just it takes more drawing and coloring and stuff.
Yeah.
I always just do a little. Really hard to do with a webcam, isn't it?
Yeah, Bubba has the same thing about you. Young girls trying to get attention, and he does powder after each bit. And Ivan asked, do you prefer red or black for your lips?
I use black only because this eyebrow is a little wider than I normally would make it, but it would be all right. So I use black. I don't know why. That's what I've always done. It tends to stand out a little bit better. And then some people do a full underline on their eye. I do more, and I stole this from, I think Stephen Ryan is who I saw do it like this, but a lot of your older Ringling, not older, but the Ringling clowns from 10 years ago or more did it this way. And I just do the fat pencil under half of my eye, and it really kind of brightens it up or brings it out from a distance. But it's not so much a normal underline, because I really sucked at doing eyeliner, and I don't necessarily care for the look going all the way across. It just didn't look right to me on my face. So and then on my lip, I do a black lip, like I said, with this face and with whenever I do my full Auguste face. I do like that. So I do kind of a disconnected lip where I've got my pips on the side and just the bottom little middle area. With this look, I don't do pips. If you don't know what a pip is, those are the circles on the top of your mouth that give your mouth expression. I just do So I just do the bottom kind of middle of my lip like that, and that's sometimes probably go a little bit wider. So I do it like that, and that's really all I do for that. Now you can let me get my makeup all covered back up, and I'm not going to powder the whole thing, but I will powder my mouth and my eyes so I can. Now there's all different types of powdering you can do. A powder puff is less messy. I'm a fan of the tube sock full of powder.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure it's clean. I'll just go ahead and do it all.
So Jeffrey's a white-faced clown. He powders after white because there's so much of it, which makes a certain amount of sense.
Yeah. If you're doing anything except a, tramp or a light kind of European style like this, I would recommend powdering after your white just to keep from smudging it and messing up. My wife will probably be mad at me for powdering in the kitchen.
Joey says he was always told he was a freshly used sock.
Yes.
Is that true?
Always sniff it first before you fill up with powder. I've had this same sock for probably, it's probably been 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Bobo asks, with that makeup, do you blend red on chin or between eyes?
With a lighter look?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can do kind of whatever you want. I normally, if you guys don't know me in real life or whatever, I normally have a goatee here that I keep most of the time, and sideburns. Like I said, I got requested to do that full Auguste face today, so I shaved all that off. But so normally, yeah, I mean, if I was going to, actually, I will do that here real quick. I would put probably a little bit more red on my chin there, and then draw a little accent mark there just to so it moves a little bit better. Okay. Now, some people will say, and this goes for any type of makeup, spritz your face down after you powder, or use a wet wash rag and get all the extra powder off. I don't do that at all. I take my brush and just brush it off like that real good. And then after I do that, then I just go for it. I sweat a lot, and usually once I get out the door, I'm all that extra powder has been absorbed by sweat anyways. So yeah. Now, when it comes to doing your nose for this type of character, I recommend going with a kind of a more matte finish nose. Jim Howell noses are good. I've got a pro nose that I took and repainted to make it more matte. But you can see if I use my shiny, this one was made by Renegade Juggling, Iman. They're like Acme is the brand. But it works. It works okay, but the shiny doesn't go with the kind of muted down look as much.
One other question came in. Ro the Clown asked, why do you start with dark colors, but you didn't start with dark colors, right?
No.
No, he started earlier with...
I started with my base color, which is this color. So it's normally you would start with your white and work your way darker as you go. So white, flesh tone, red, black. I started with this just so it would mute down the white as I added it on there. Is the only reason at all for that.
Do you ever use glue for your nose, Connie?
So I use the stuff that Pro Nose sells, the tape. It's actually toupee tape. You can buy it as toupee tape if you wanted to. I just buy it from him because I don't know which brand of toupee tape he markets and resells as his own. So
yeah, we've got Pro Nose Super Stick double-sided tape, which is I think what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so this is what it looks like on the roll. And I can usually get a couple of uses out of the nose before I have to replace the tape. This one I have strong. This is an old Schnottlocker nose.
Oh God, those guys are great. I mean, they haven't been around a long time.
Yeah, so they haven't made. I talked to Dan. What's his last name? Wolf, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, the guy that made them, I talked to him a while back and just asked if he was still making them or if he knew where I could get them. Because I love this nose and the shape, the inside of this is like it was made for my nose. I don't know the mold that he used for the negative is like the exact same size as my nose. So it touches every single bit on the inside touches my nose.
Awesome.
And so I asked him, I was like, do you make these anymore? He said, man, he goes, I haven't made those in like 20 years. He goes, we still make the glue for them. He said, but we don't make the noses anymore. So I don't know what I'll do when this thing finally craps out, but I like this nose a lot.
That's a great. Someone asked, Ronnie asked, do you flesh tone the string?
So I don't know if you can see it. It looks like fishing line. It is beading elastic. You can get them at Walmart. And it looks like fishing line, except it's stretchy. And so I take it and put it on a needle, thread it through the side of the nose, and then you can see the two beads inside there. Then tie it to the beads, and then that just keeps it. It does kind of get like a little bit of a flesh tone look to it over time just from rubbing against the makeup and stuff. But that's what I've done on both of these noses. That's just clear beading elastic.
Rosetta loves your clown makeup. She also asked the question, will we do more of these things? And I think the answer is yes. I certainly think it's a great idea. And, the interesting question for us is sort of as all the people watching, is let me know what you guys would like to see. Because I think this is one of those things where a lot of clowns have, at least they use it for conferencing, what we're using Zoom software, so we can do this with a lot of people. So,
Yeah.
Beal, absolutely. Tell me what you guys think and what other things you'd like to see, and I'd be happy to work on it.
So one thing with a lighter look, you don't wear a wig with it. You use your natural hair. I always like to wear a hat. Hopefully my wife brings my hat to me here in a minute. I just texted her and asked her to. But I always wear a hat with mine just because my hair is not the funniest in the world. It's just thin. But so, I mean, that's what I do. This is a pro nose that I was talking about earlier that I painted.
Mm-hmm.
Painted it a darker red, and I just use craft paint to paint it. So just acrylic craft paint. It's not going on your skin, so it doesn't make any difference if it's, skin friendly or not. But I just painted it a darker red with a flat finish on it, and I think it goes well with a lighter look. And then you could always use.
Connie asked, "Where's Emmett? Give him a hug for me. I hope I see him at Niagara Falls."
That's my son. I think he's planning on coming with us to Niagara Falls.
Nice.
So you can use a flesh tone nose if you wanted to. So I mean, you've got all kinds of options for that. Anybody else have other questions for me or
they're just general appreciation. Rosetta says, "I love clowns. I just love clowns and great streams." So she's very happy. And Scott's starting something. I have a friend that was a Ringling's Red Squad. What is the Red Squad? Do you know what that is?
I don't know.
Okay.
I texted a real estate client to ask about my hat, not my wife.
Well, hopefully they're bringing a hat over soon. So Bobo asks, he's calling us from the UK, and got to put up the big top up and do a show. And I was interested in how you devise new skits or gags.
I honestly. Okay, Joey called me out on something. I never said I never did a red lip. Somebody asked about a red lip. I used to use a red lip, and then as I kind of grew, I evolved into a black lip. So that was me back in the day with my red lip. So pretty similar, but it's just I prefer the black lip now. How do I get new material? That's a hard one for me. I'm not a circus clown, so I don't do like big ring gags and stuff. Most of what I do is just magic tricks. If I'm performing a show, I'm doing a birthday party show, and most of what I do is balloons and magic and stuff. I'll do some. I'll do a little bit of goofy stuff from time to time with my dad and stuff, and those we just normally end up doing old your normal sketches like Ring Ring and Banana Bandana and stuff like that. But so I'm not the best one to ask for gag development stuff. If you can ever get in a class with somebody like Greg DeSanto and Karen Bell, Robin Urich, those guys that were, old time ringling clowns, stuff like that. Those would be great for gag development classes.
Couple comments. Well, one other thing I would say is we did a bunch of videos on ClownAntics.com related to just very simple gags. So if you want to look at those are some of the standard gags. Nice hat.
Thank you.
So your real estate guy brought that, or was that you?
No, I finally ended up texting my wife. So.
And there are red and blue units in Ring the Brothers, which I did not know. And Thomas says your original look and my look are very similar. So, and another one, Jeff said, remember, if a realtor brings you a watch, it means they sold a house. If they bring you a hat, well, that really means a lot. And Will says he's a Shriner clown. I have never used the double stick tape on nose. Can you show how to use it?
Yeah. So I can do that real quick. So side note, I am a realtor. That's my day job is selling real estate. And a client had texted me about seeing a house tomorrow. And I forgot that he was the last text I had up. And so whenever I texted, thinking I was texting my wife to bring me this hat, I texted it to him. And he said, I don't have your blue hat, man, or I would. I said, haha, oops. He said, at least you were only asking for a hat.
That's funny.
So the way this stuff works, and I don't have any scissors, so it'll be kind of hard, but you peel this off. And I don't know if you can
No, I can see it.
see. There's a shiny side there. That's just a little, you can kind of see the glue that's on the wax tape there. Let me see here. I've got this thing I'm going to try to get it off with here.
Rosetta likes your hat, by the way.
That hat is a Karen Bell hat. It's for the juggling hat. So it's balanced and weighted and everything so you can juggle with it. So you take the inside of your nose and I gotta say, one of the nastiest looking things on earth is the inside of a clown nose with glue built up on it and stuff. But you can kind of see, well, you probably can't really see. There's a couple pieces of tape in there already, but you just stick your tape in there like this. So I've got a piece going from side down and a side down, and so I'm going to put this middle piece in here. So you stick your tape in there like that and press it down real good. And then you want to get something to like pry up the edge with because it sticks pretty good. So I usually use a little pin of some sort. Get under there. You want to get between the sticky tape and the paper backer. Maybe here. Okay. Now, if you can see this or not,
Uh-huh.
as I pull that away, it leaves the tape behind inside the nose. So you can kind of see just a little bit of the tape up on top there. It's a real thin, it's toupee tape is what it is, but it's just a real thin double stick tape that's super, super sticky. And you put it on there and you press it down good there. And I mean, it sticks on there pretty good. I've had, I think the most I've worn it for is probably 6 or 8 hours before. And it's like a Biore strip whenever you pull it off of there. I mean, it'll pull out blackheads and all kinds of crazy stuff, but it sticks better than any glue. I've got the Pro Nose glue, but I sweat so much that it just goes right through the glue, and it'll last me a couple hours before I'm done with it. And that's why I started stringing most of my noses.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to worry about them sweating them off. But I've not had any of that trouble with the tape sweating off.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And I use the same thing on my Santa beards.
Now, other people use spirit gum, right?
So spirit gum, you really shouldn't use with the Pro Noses. Something in it will eat up the foam inside of the nose.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but it'll mess with it and start breaking the foam down inside there. I also am not a fan of spirit gum just because as it dries and cures, it gets hard. It doesn't stay elasticy and movable as much.
Mm-hmm.
So as it dries and cures, it gets more it's a tree resin. So yeah.
Right. Got it. Okay. Interesting. I did not know that.
Ronnie asked if I do any caring clowning. I don't. I would love to get a hospital program going. This look right now is perfect for a hospital clown program. They want lighter looks. They prefer a lighter character. that's more relatable and more human looking, but still silly. So a lighter look like this is perfect for hospital settings. And I don't do any right now, but I am thinking about and have thought about looking into it for some of our local children's hospitals. We've got two. I'm an hour south of Indianapolis, and we've got Riley Children's Hospital and Peyton Manning Children's Hospital up there, that both are pretty good size noses. So.
Trip likes the darker tone of the red for your nose.
Thank you. You say Trip? Was it Trip Burnett?
Yep.
He's got an awesome light look. He's a very vaudevillian style look to his character. So if you don't know Trip, go find him. He's also a master at these things.
Yeah.
I can't really do much more than, see, I can't even do that. Like, that's about all I can do with it, but he can do all kinds of cool stuff. So
how do you, Thomas asked, how you get good coverage over your eyebrows?
You use black over them.
Okay. Well, there you go.
No, I mean, I've got pretty dark eyebrows, but it's just, whenever you're doing, I do my white makeup over them. Kind of see there.
Right.
I don't cake it on there, and I don't worry too much if they show a little bit. The white balance is weird on that, but I don't worry too much if they show a little bit, but I always take and do it against the grain first and then kind of smooth it back down. You don't want to cake makeup into your hair of your eyebrows. I've seen some people do the whole drag queen trick where they take and glue stick and glue their eyebrows down and smooth it down real big and stuff. If that works for you, great. I don't have the patience to do that and then wait on it to dry, and it takes 3 or 4 coats to get it all done and everything. But I know people that do that. Some people, I used to know a Ronald McDonald in the area, and I'm pretty sure that he shaved his eyebrows off, but
that's tough. So going back to an earlier discussion, Jeff said spirit gum becomes crumbly, and then the stuck down item falls off. And Trip said he wanted to bump a nose. He says, thanks for the shout out. And Harry said, I'd like to get into info on maybe a clown character. Don't like the idea of a wig as my head gets itchy. So maybe a hat is the best way. Yeah.
Honestly, wigs are going, if you look at, I know Ringling Brothers isn't the best example since they shut down a couple years ago, but if you look at the last 10 years worth of clowns from Ringling Brothers before they shut it down, 90% of them didn't wear wigs. Few of them did, but most of them, did a lighter look. It is more relatable. I love the old style of clowning, but it's just kind of an evolving thing, and kind of a more pedestrian style, relatable look is what sells better these days. And it's a plus side that it's an easier, quicker makeup to get into as well. So I mean,
well, you look great.
I definitely would look into a hat. You can do a bowler hat, like Connie says. She has an orange bowler. She wears her pigtails. Connie, you don't have pigtails that come through the hat, though, do you? I think her pigtails come down around the hat. But I know people that take the hat and cut holes in them right here and make their pigtails come out through the side, kind of like if you remember Lunette from the Big Comfy Couch, the show back in the 90s. She had kind of a hat like this that had the pigtails coming out the sides. You could get a fun-colored baseball cap. You could do.
She takes her pigtails and puts them out through the sides.
Okay. Cool.
Just like Lunette.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you can if you guys know who Glenn Kohlberger is, Kaleidoscope. He used to have he does Santa now, so he's got a white beard and white hair and stuff. But back in a few years ago, he just had a mustache. But he had the way he did his hair, he would kind of grow it out, and he was kind of balding on top, but he would kind of spike it out on the sides a little bit, and it was really cool looking to do that. And he didn't necessarily need the hat with that either. But so those are all.
Harry asks, how long does it take you to remove the makeup, and how do you go about doing it?
So there's all kinds of different ways you can remove the makeup. I used vegetable oil one time whenever I was in a pinch. I've used butter before in a pinch. The way I normally do it is coconut oil. I'll take coconut oil and spread all over my face, let it set for a second, then get in the shower and just wash my face off with baby shampoo. You can do just baby shampoo. Do just baby shampoo. It takes just a little bit more scrubbing than if you use an oil of some sort to break down the makeup first. One thing with coconut oil, the reason I like it, olive oil works well too. Those both are not so they're not hard to get off once they get on there, and they don't tend to break you out as much as some of the oils do, leave you greasy, stuff like that. I don't recommend using Vaseline or something like that just because it's so water repellent that it's impossible to get off.
What about the makeup removers? Have you tried any of them?
Yeah, so I used to use the Ben Nye makeup remover. I've used those. Those are good. It's just I don't know why I stopped really. They're water based even though, so they wash off easier than coconut oil does even. I've never used the Maron one, but I've seen, I don't remember what it's called, but it comes in a tub and it's more of a
yeah, there's a Maron there's a Maron makeup remover. I'll put a link in the chat window.
Yeah.
So it's a big tub of it, and it's like 4 ounces, and there's for Superstar, which it's kind of more of a face paint, but it also works on this. So I'll put it in both.
Yeah, so I've not used it personally, but I know people that have and have had good luck with it. So those are good.
And also, Connie says she uses olive oil, and she likes hydro oil, which one is that? That's Kryolan's makeup remover.
Okay. Cool.
And a couple of comments here. Joey likes Neutrogena makeup wipes. And Noxzema makeup remover wipes are great. So a lot of different choices on that. Oh, well, great. Well, we're coming to our closing time. Thank you, everybody. iDoc says the olive oil is kind to the eyes, says Connie. Okay, good to know. We're reaching the witching hour of 8 o'clock. We said we'd be on for an hour. So I want to thank Adam. This has been terrific. And I really appreciate you doing this. So I think we all do. And thank you all for coming, both on Facebook and on the webinar. We'll publish this, so you'll get a recording of this if you couldn't watch through it all. Ronnie says thanks. Lee says thank you. So and Connie, of course, says thank you. So any ideas of what we should do next? Any thoughts? Okay, nothing. But we'll make up something. Don't worry. We're good at this. Okay. Gags and props, says Connie. That's what she wants to see as a video. But that's a little hard to do on your computer because gags. Well, maybe it isn't. Maybe you could do a gag.
Prop making or something. Let's see. I'm trying to. I'll have to think on. I'm sure I know some people that'd be good at teaching something like that.
Okay. Thanks, Juju Wands, the clown in San Diego. And I appreciate all your time. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening.
Good to see you guys.
Bye-bye.